Welcome back to Trending on Shaw.
Picture of our country.
Yeah, looks pretty good out there too. Welcome back. We've got lovely guests on our panel here this morning. Conley, the marketing coordinator for Calgary Meals on Wheels. Also Barb Marshall here, a blogger of Write Well You Can. And Dax Justin, the branding and design consultant and visual artist, all joining us here this morning.
Yeah, let's get to some trending topics this morning, and our panelists are going to jump on this as well too. First of all, our very own Kate, right here, accidentally did something that was actually pretty good, Kate.
It's actually turning out to be quite awesome. On Tuesday, I tweeted out that there needed to be an app for the city that tells you what patios are open with this nice weather. It's hard to know where to go and what sections of the city are opening their patios. So I tweeted out there needs to be an app to tell you where to go in what part of the city. So in tweeting with a bunch of people down the road, the app guys at App Guys Incorporated on Twitter tweeted at me and said they would create an app. So last night they tweeted out the prototype version 1. So it's up here on the iPad.
So it's just a prototype right now. So it's not actually live.
No, it's not live yet, but they are working on it, and they're also taking ideas through their email for anyone that wants to contribute to it.
So what other involvement do you have?
None. I'm just the ideal person, that's all. I just come up with it.
You know, Dax, you were saying this, you know, sometimes it's a social network.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden, look, Kate creates an app or somebody creates it for her.
Yep, she inspired one, right? And that's really cool. And that's, again, one of those ways that when you're just organic and you're just being real on social media and being yourself, that's when the unexpected things happen like that. And that's happened several times throughout many people's social media journeys. And it's just about giving her, you know?
Let us know when it goes live.
Yeah, well, I haven't even talked to the guys that created it. To be quite honest, it's just all been through Twitter, and I didn't think it would take off like this, or I didn't even think they would start creating it. They kind of joked about it, or at least I thought they were joking on Tuesday.
Nice.
But here we go. Last night they tweeted at me, and they've got version 1 done.
Nice. They're probably on the patio right now.
They're probably just designing it on the patios for the afternoon.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I'd like to join those meetings.
It doesn't take much. It really doesn't take much. And it doesn't take much to come up with some creative ideas, like Barb has come up with a creative idea. Can we share real quickly? Your 9-year-old son is having a birthday today. You're going to love this story because you're doing something, Miss Creative.
Well, you know, okay, so first of all, it's Friday the 13th, right?
Yes.
And he is always number 13 when he plays hockey. So 13 is actually a fantastic number in our house.
Sweet.
So, yeah, Fear Factor, for those of us who remember that show, Fear Factor, we are doing a party tonight based on that. So 9-year-old boys, right? How gross can we get it? It is going to be gross. So we have things ranging from edible bugs, which I will not be trying.
You found edible bugs?
Yeah, they're dead. Now, you also can find...
Wait a minute, the live ones are much tastier.
Yeah, I know, but I've heard you can find edible live crickets, but I didn't go there with that. I thought I'd stick with these. Yeah, they're really large. I don't know what they are.
Christine's freaking out right now.
Yeah, I'm not feeling the bugs.
Yeah, I know. Although they're supposed to be really healthy, right? Bugs.
Yeah,
you hear that.
protein.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, bugs, live bugs, and then we're doing a baby diaper. Okay, baby diaper filled with chocolate pudding. Okay, so if you can imagine, chocolate pudding, baby diaper, and in the pudding is bubble gum, but the kids don't know that, so they have to do like a full face thing into there, and then they have to blow the bubble, right? Once they get the bubble gum.
But they won't know it's gum.
No, that's exactly right.
I love this.
I know, isn't that gross? Yeah, so we have a few more really gross things, but yeah. So I have a bucket actually for those kids who might need it.
Did you put a disclaimer on the invitation?
I did tell them. I will. I'm going to have garbage bags to slip over their head, right? Because it's going to be messy. So I didn't want the kids to get their clothes all gross. Yeah, there's a dog biscuit relay. So these huge dog bones I have, and they have to put it in their mouth, and then go as fast as they can, like a dog, and keep that dog biscuit. They're really gross smelling.
They don't taste good. I've tried dog biscuits. Even the ones I make for my dog.
Right.
What are you doing tasting dog biscuits?
No, because I made it for her and I knew what went in it, and so I was like, oh, well then it must taste good because it had some really interesting ingredients. And then I tasted it and I was like, no, this is terrible. There's way too much flour. It's just...
You could probably win at the tournament today.
Do us a favor, take lots of pictures, and when you take lots of pictures, put them on Instagram.
That's right.
The guy who knows a lot about Instagram is this guy right here, Dax Justin on Instagram. While we're having this conversation, I encourage you to jump on right now and take a look at the amazing photos that you've done. What got you started on Instagram?
I just randomly went and started taking photos. I guess the only thing I could really say is the universe told me to go get lost one day, and I just started documenting that on Instagram, and that was basically it. I've always kind of had an eye for photos and whatnot, but I've never been the guy behind the camera.
Right.
And one day that just all changed, and then it just kind of went from there.
And now you spend your time going out to the mountains. How often do you go?
Probably once every at least couple weeks. Usually my explorations rely a lot on the unexpected and spontaneity, so I can kind of go to the mountains at any time. It just depends on a lot of client work and obviously the balance, but yeah, no, I love getting out anywhere. There's no real plan ever, no destination.
We're taking a look at some photos right now, and these are just spectacular. Oh my heavens, man.
Thank you.
You should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you so much.
Do you use your phone or professional cameras?
Yeah, I use a HTC M8, and it was the best camera on the market at the time. I think the brand new iPhone 6 has a pretty wicked camera, but most of my photos, 95% of them are used with a mobile device.
That is amazing.
Makes me think I could be a photographer.
You can. I'm like an accidental mobile photographer right now, and it feels great.
Someone who's not quite savvy with Instagram, give us a feel of what Instagram is all about.
For sure. What really spiked my interest with Instagram was that people are capturing moments from all over the world. And so we can't be everywhere at once. And I want to see what those moments are in different places. And so for travel organizations and things like this, it's a great place to showcase what places look like at that time. So that really attracted me to Instagram.
In a sexy way.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're taking very unique culture-based photos, very lifestyle-ish photos, and it basically gives you a look into what that province is like before you make any decisions on where to travel. So it was really cool for me to get out and see our province, absolutely.
And beyond just taking pictures, your Instagram account has given you plenty of opportunities. In fact, you've had, I'm sure, some paid stuff from just having an Instagram account.
Definitely. So there's a lot. Like I said, travel organizations are really into this, and they're into getting groups of photographers out for Insta meets. And what happens there is you go out and take a lot of photos. Sometimes not exactly with Insta meets, but with independent organizations. They definitely want to use people to kind of test their products and get them out there. I work a lot with Keen Canada. Kind of get all my footwear sponsored by them to go out and explore. Nice. So they've helped me and able to do that. And from that, I've gotten a lot of contract work that is in photography with outdoors brands and things like that.
It's amazing how things work.
Suggested users. You are one of the Instagram suggested users.
Yeah.
What is a suggested user?
I was a suggested user. Okay. For a 2 or 3 week period, Instagram somehow finds you. They somehow scout you. Maybe it's from the use of hashtags. Maybe it's the frequency of your posts. That part is very, very organic. And they make you a suggested user for 2 weeks and basically put you in front of everyone who signs up on Instagram, and there's a suggested user button. And basically your account goes in front of all those people. And that was the deciding factor that kind of took me from a couple hundred followers to 28,000.
28,000, ladies.
Yeah. The photos are, I know why. They're beautiful. Yeah. They're beautiful photos. Yeah.
A few moments ago, we were looking at Shaw TV Calgary. We also have one as well, too. And as you saw, the trending mugs. It is amazing. The hashtags play an important role on Instagram as well, too, similar to what Twitter has.
Yeah, a little bit similar. It's about being very, very selective on Twitter with your hashtags. You don't want to pile your photos or your posts with hashtags. But on Instagram, it's kind of a different opportunity, because I would say that the goal a lot of the time is to, especially for me, I wanted to get my photos in front of a larger audience. So if I just post to a few hundred followers, you never really know how many eyeballs are actually on your feed at a given time. But if you use certain hashtags that are popular hashtags or ones that are local to your area, your photo goes in front of more eyeballs just naturally. And so I think that they play a large role in getting yourself noticed on Instagram by different brands and people who are looking at various hashtags at different times.
And you don't have the same restrictions on the number of characters that you can post, so you can actually post more hashtags.
Right.
And
30 is Instagram's limit, and if they could have limited it at 5, but they limited it at 30 to give people that opportunity to get that kind of exposure. And so I was just kind of lucky in the way that it all happened. And
yeah. We heard a number of social media people here explaining different medias, the Facebooks and the Twitters, and now Instagrams. One thing that we're hearing, or the message that's being told, and maybe you can concur on this, and ladies, you can jump on as well. Use them all. Use them all to your advantage. Barb, are you on Instagram as well too?
I am.
Okay, good.
It's the newest of any platform that I am on. It's my newest one. And I actually, it's funny, I started it when I was on a trip. So that's very cool, Dax, what you just said about traveling and sort of that moment in different cultures in different countries. So I was traveling in Italy last summer, and that's why I started it.
Fantastic.
So and I mean, mine aren't all landscape or anything, but just it's stuff I love and I find beauty in it. So I am there and I'm learning. The conversation about hashtags on Instagram versus on Twitter is fascinating to me. That's a new area for me.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear you, Dax, speak to that.
Should charities jump on board this?
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, all of them have really unique features and audiences, and when you're using them professionally, either for a charity or to promote your own brand or something like that, you do have to kind of take into consideration what the differences are between the different social media channels. Because if you have limited resources or time, and you have to then decide what's your biggest bang for your buck, and if you get into the advertising side of things, what are you going to spend your advertising dollars on as well? So you have to be pretty selective, and it's funny how a lot of them are kind of changing slightly to meet the needs.
Tweaked, you mean?
Yeah, they're changing to meet the needs of the people who are posting for professional reasons, because they realize that people need insight and they need the statistics from the back end of like how is this being viewed and where is this going, who's seeing it, because that's why we're posting, because it's helping us get our message out there.
That's the big challenge. So if you have a business of your own and you're trying to decide how much resources do I put towards this effort, is it worth it, right? And that's where you come up with the numbers. But you're suggesting it is worth it, Dax.
Absolutely. On Twitter, most of the tweets are all text-based. You can obviously add photos and videos, but most of the time it's about the conversation on Twitter. Photos get more, like 80% or something more interactions, and so Instagram is about sharing a moment. Not necessarily less carrying a dialogue. You can do that with your comments, and it's a great way to meet people, obviously. But photos are obviously more attractive to people. So it's a great way to share behind the scenes things that the public usually wouldn't get to see.
I think it's funny because in our day and age, everyone's saying we're rushing through life and we're not taking the moments, but I think Instagram has really brought us back to that. We find moments in our day, whether it's to brag to people or whatever reason you post for Instagram, maybe on a personal side, not a business side, but you are taking those moments to look at your life or a moment in your life and capture it. So I think we're actually slowing down maybe in some respects.
Yep. And that just becomes more authentic because more people are sharing their stories at that moment, and it gives you insight into what you're doing at different times. And so it's just kind of cool to, I love sharing where I am and what I'm doing, and I love seeing where people are and how they're capturing those moments. And even even in our backyard, we have the breathtaking scenery. It's just waiting for us.
What were you thinking, Barb?
Well, I was thinking sometimes I'm learning, but I think one thing that I've learned just from sort of looking at other Instagram accounts, if we're going to focus on that one for a second, is some are really inspiring, and some others are. You're kidding me. Are you really going to post that picture of your breakfast bowl
we need to
of
see
cereal?
this birthday party, all these pictures.
Well, see, but I hesitate actually about that because I really like who cares really, first of all, and second,
I want to see those.
I'll send them to you, Phoenix.
That'd be
That's a Facebook. That's a Facebook.
Yeah, it would be
yeah.
a Pinterest thing more because it gives people ideas for their fear factor party, right? So yeah, I love it, but I think it can go almost the other way to make people feel like envious in a negative way, and like, oh, I wish I could do that, or I can't afford that, or I'm so sick of seeing everybody's beautiful house and mine's a mess. So there's a fine line, I think, as the promoters or the users of the social media to keep that we want to inspire. We want to be positive in that, and maybe post the messy house picture, right? If that's what you're going to do, but yeah.
We actually had a whole show on that a couple weeks ago where we brought in people who look perfect on Instagram, but they actually revealed their secrets with us to looking good on Instagram. Yeah,
I think the other thing is that I have found that my audience, or people who are into all things paper or letter writing, are mostly, ironically, on Twitter. Yeah, I have the Facebook thing and the Instagram I do probably more for my personal enjoyment, but it's ironic, right? Because these are paper people, but they're kind of more living on Twitter. So I've learned that most of my efforts are concentrated on Twitter and the blog and connecting those two to each other. Not often, because it's not about promotion at all. The least self-promotion, the better, I think, from me, and I think everybody would probably agree that that's in social media. It's not about always promoting yourself.
Right. Well, if there's one thing you should do, look into Instagram, find out more, and take a look at some of these pictures. What is your Instagram account, real quick?
It's Right While You Can. Right is R-I-T-E.
Right While You Can.
And the letter U.
Looking forward to those pictures. And look